Em,
and Lex.
two imperfect six-figure business coaches, co-founders, and friends who decided to combine our superpowers to bring to market something we wish we had when we entered the world of coaching.
A real, non-BS, intimate, and fun community built with integrity, intention, and a few glasses of wine.
In this podcast, we get real.
Real about life,
Business,
relationships,
and what it really takes to find your version of success in the world of coaching. Are you ready, Lex?
I'm set, Em.
Let's coach.
Hi guys, Lex here, and it's my turn officially for a Minisode. I know you had Emily last week, this week, me, and next week I promise we'll be back together. But we felt compelled to just do two breakout episodes on different topics that were pulling our heartstrings. Also, I'm traveling. So the cool thing about being an entrepreneur and having your own business is that you get to sometimes make the decisions in real time and make it up as you go. This whole concept got me really thinking about what I love and what I don't love, honestly, about being a coach. And so I decided to make a list. I made a list for you guys today on 7 things I love and hate. Hate's a strong word. We'll say love and don't love about being a coach. These are less obvious things to prepare for if you're new or you're just getting into a coaching business. It's one of those I wish I had known or I didn't know until I knew type situations. So I'm just going to go through one by one and chat really, really honestly. So one thing I do love about being a coach, and I don't love it at the exact same time, is holding space. Hear me out. I love holding space. And if you don't know what I mean by holding space, I mean making room, holding space in a coaching session. Emily and I have a whole episode on the different hats of coaching if you want to dive into that. But going in and making room and holding a coaching client in a container is something that I love. That's a core part of being a coach. Part that I don't love, or the part I was not prepared for, is what holding space for others can do to your own energy and mental health if you are not careful. So if you, for example, have a packed day of coaching calls, or if I do, and all of them go great, and everyone's happy and everyone's winning, then my mental health is great. And I typically wrap up my day feeling super high on top of the world on all things coaching. The reality is, however, that that's not always the case. It could be a packed day where everyone is just down and everyone is just having a hard time. And that can wear on you. That can wear on your headspace. That can wear on your energy. That can wear on your physical being if you're not careful. So it's just something to really prepare for. And it's something to work at creating separation from. So what this looks like for me is capping out how many coaching calls I take in a given day and allowing my space time to heal or take a breath on either side of a call. So I typically will only do 2 coaching calls in a given day. And I make sure I have 30 minutes before and 30 minutes blocked after that call to breathe, to go on a walk, to feed myself, to make sure that I am creating space from whatever holding of space that I just had to do. So that's number 1. Number 2, I love and don't love the operational side of having a coaching business. So I would be lying if I told you when you're first starting a coaching business, the vast majority of your time is spent coaching. It's not. It's just not. When you're just getting started out, the vast majority of your time is not coaching. It's being in the business. It's creating offerings. It's accounting. It's legal. It's marketing. It's all the other things that maybe in theory we figured would go into having a business, but quickly becomes the reality. Now, there is a point where you have enough revenue where it makes sense to build a team, and then that workload can lessen and you can be spending the majority of your time coaching. And I'm fortunate enough to be at a point, so is Emily, in our career where we can do this. But at the end of the day, as the business owner, you still have to do things like taxes and accounting. Emily and I have a bookkeeper, right? But that doesn't mean I never have to touch my finances. So again, if you want to be a coach, make sure you also are ready and want to be a business owner, because the two go hand in hand if you're actually trying to make money. So that's number 2. Number 3, I love that now my revenue is more predictable. I didn't love it at first when it wasn't. So your revenue as a coach can drastically fluctuate based on how you set up your business model. There might be months where you have a huge month. Maybe you're running a group program and you get a quick 50K into your bank. But then for the next 3 months, you don't sell anything because, oops, you only have that one enrollment period of income. And if you aren't prepared for that, or if you haven't thought through that, that can bring up a lot, right? So when you're working on building your offering and you're working on projecting out your year, make sure first and foremost, you understand how your offerings are supporting your predictability. But furthermore, just know that there are going to be seasons that are high and seasons that are a little dry. This happens to clients or our students at Ready Set Coach all the time. They'll have an incredible 3 months, and then all of a sudden that 4th month isn't as incredible. So they start to freak out, when in reality, that's just the ebbs and flows of this business. There are highs and lows. Christmas time, for example, historically can be a low moment. People are taking off time from work and they're going to spend time with family. So unless you're a family holiday coach, which I'm so curious if that exists, if you're listening and you're something, please message us. Then know that maybe that month, December and January, might be a little low. But then we know that assuming we do our job and we consistently show up, it'll pick back up in February. So again, to kind of recap that, I love that now I'm at a point in business where my revenue is more predictable, but I didn't love it at first when it wasn't. Something we can just prepare for. Number 4, I love when people get it. I don't love when they don't. Here's what I mean. Some types of coaches and some types of coaching offerings are more well understood than others. A business coach, for example, is something that, generally speaking, most people understand. The more niche and specialty we get, the more or the less people tend to universally get it. So, for example, for the PR bar side of things and PR coaching, that is something that some people get. And I've worked years now at really refining that messaging down, but there are some people that don't get it. And when I was first starting out, what I was doing was such a new concept that there was a lot of education that had to be worked into the sales process. So just be mindful that depending on what type of coach or coaching offering you are or are offering, there may be a large segment of the population who gets it, or it might be something that takes a little bit more education. Okay, number 5. I freaking love the flexibility of being a coach, period. I love it. There's no hate there. I love that I get to control my schedule. I love that I can scale up and ramp up my client load in seasons when I want to. And I love that I can slow it down when I need to. Now, caveat to that is I don't know if I knew that from the beginning of being a coach. No, I didn't, point blank. I didn't understand that from the very beginning of what that meant. So let's say you are someone who is wanting to get or try to get pregnant in the next year. Say you want to start trying in 6 months, and in a dream world, in a year and a half from now, you are pregnant. And the way you've set up your coaching practice is to offer 6-month containers. You need to be mindful if you're giving birth, let's say in March of 2024, that your 6-month retainers are wrapped up before then. Right? So it's just something you need to be really, really on top of. It's flexible. You get to choose it, but just be really mindful of creating systems and packages that support that flexibility. All right, number 6, I love teaching and empowering people. I don't love when people don't get it. So everyone learns different. We have visual learners, we have, auditory, we have people who learn by doing it. And as a coach, you're likely very passionate about teaching on some sort of category. And it's super, super rad when people pick up what you're putting down. It's not so awesome when people aren't really understanding what you're saying, not really understanding the material. This is something I promise you that the more people you coach, the longer in the game, the more refined your curriculum and teachings will be. Something that Emily and I learned and now do in Ready, Set, Coach is we offer multiple ways for people to learn. So we have a video module, but we also include PDFs that are downloadable and transcripts for our lessons. We have homework that's very interactive. We have one-on-one coaching, we have Slack support, and we have group support. There's a ton of different ways that we are offering our cohorts to learn, right? And some people love the training modules. Some people only read the transcripts, right? And to be honest, we change and we tweak our lessons and our modules, or we have after each cohort, the more we understand what's landing and what's not landing. So just be open-minded and remember that, it doesn't mean you're wrong or you're not talented if your first iteration of content, if you're creating content or curriculum, isn't landing. Just remember, people are different, people learn different. Okay, and number 7, what I wanted to wrap up with, I love when my clients get epic results. I don't love, and the reality is that sometimes they don't. That one has been one of the biggest or hardest pills for me to swallow, because in coaching, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. Meaning, I can teach someone, I can provide someone with tools and trainings and everything that they need to succeed. But in the position as a coach, I'm not on the front lines. They, at the end of the day, have to make a choice to show up and execute accordingly and consistently. And so sometimes we have clients that aren't doing so great, and it can be really, really frustrating, but we have to remember, are we at least doing our end of the bargain? Are we doing our job, right? Are we coaching them? Are we providing space? Are we helping them tweak and pivot in real time? Remember, that's your job. At the end of the day, you can't control whether or not they do the damn thing. So that pretty much is all I wanted to bring to you guys today. Again, these are things that transparently I love and don't love about being a coach, and some of the less obvious things to think about as you prepare for in your coaching business. If you have any questions, reach out. You can send us a message on Instagram. Would love to know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for both Em and I on the Ready, Set, Coach podcast.
If you're enjoying the Ready, Set, Coach podcast, please leave a review wherever you are listening. For more information about Ready, Set, Coach, visit readysetcoachprogram.com.